Good morning. Delicious coffee here. What I want to talk about is the experience that I had yesterday. And today I'm finally processing the whole event. Good morning. So yesterday I went for a wonderful stretch massage and 1 hour regular massage. I felt amazing. I was drinking water. The whole experience was just wonderful. And then I went to my car, opened the trunk because I had left all my belongings in my trunk except my keys. And as I was about to, I had leaned into the trunk. When I was leaning out of the trunk, I banged my head really, really hard on one part of the trunk. I feel like I actually saw stars. I was dazed. I slammed the trunk and realized that I locked my keys in the car. But I was with a friend of mine. I actually was dazed. I was so confused. So I didn't know what to do. So I called the car company. Now with this car company, I rent from them regularly. I think it's called status. I have status with this company. I'm supposed to be one of their VIP members, for lack of a better word. And up until this point, the service from this car company has been impeccable. If I had to rate them on a scale of 0 to 10, I would have given them a 10 all this time. Now, just imagine, I'm seeing stars. A friend of mine was calling the car company, and I went and got ice for my head, a bag of ice. And I'm sitting there with a bag of ice on my head, and she calls the car company roadside assistance. Because one time before, I actually locked my keys in the car many years ago, and all I did was give them the VIN number, and they just unlocked it for me. So I thought it was going to be the same experience. So I just want to say that when you get a survey, they say, we want to make your experience the best. And normally, up until this point, they've always gotten a 10 from me. But yesterday's experience was just not the same. The woman at the other end said, we can't unlock your car. What's your contract number? But I didn't know my contract number because it was in the car. The good news is, I was speaking to a human being at roadside assistance. They basically told me that I didn't have unlocking coverage and they would have to call a tow truck for me or AAA or a locksmith. After much back and forth conversation, they finally decided that they would call a locksmith, but that I would be charged $75 for the locksmith. They knew what kind of car I had. They knew every single thing about it because they finally found my contract. After all this back and forth, and my head was actually pulsing, I was dazed. We went to the car because we were on hold for such a long time. Now just picture this. I have an ice bag on my head. I'm dazed. I'm furious. I'm yelling at this customer service person. That's ridiculous. I have status with your company. I need you to help me. So finally they tell me that a locksmith is going to come within an hour's worth of time. So we were still on hold. They were trying to make the arrangements when we went to the car, and I found a button that released the trunk because you cannot leave these kind of keys in the car and lock the door. I just didn't know where the button was to release it. So we found the button and we canceled the locksmith from coming, and we went on our merry way to a really fabulous dinner. But the experience for me was very, very frightening, and I'll tell you why. I realized that subconsciously, I feel like this company in the past has always taken care of me. They meet me at baggage claim, they take my luggage, they're always there, they're so dependable, and it makes me feel safe. When yesterday I needed them to take care of me, they didn't make me feel safe and taken care of. They just made me feel like I made a mistake and now I was going to be punished. And what I realized is that our subconscious mind plays a very big role in our experience. I was safe. I was sitting in front of a massage place. I was at a really fancy hotel. I was with a friend. I wasn't alone. It was the afternoon. It wasn't evening. I was safe. But my subconscious mind was thinking, and it made up all these stories about how they always take care of me. Why didn't they take care of me now? And maybe I have a concussion, and maybe I'm losing my mind. And all of these things ran through my head. And what I realized is the customer service experience that I've always had from this company definitely was not there. The processing of the experience for me brought up all of these subconscious scary thoughts that I didn't even realize I was having at the time. But what I realized this morning when I've been thinking about this is that our subconscious mind, little things sets us off, and then we create this giant story. When I finally today was sitting with my first cup of coffee, watching the sunrise on the beach, I realized that the experience of things is the way your subconscious mind gets triggered. For me yesterday, my subconscious mind got triggered in a very frightful way that, oh my God, my car rental company isn't taking care of me. And I do want to say one more thing. A few days ago, the engine light went on, and I called them. And because I was driving to the spa, I wanted to tell them that the engine light was on. And after a whole talk with them, they said, what is the mileage? You have a few more good miles on it. Don't worry about it. Just let the engine light be on. But that started my experience of being nervous. It's so interesting to me how I travel alone, and I pride myself on this, and how I have faith in my airline that I have status in. I have faith in my car company that I have status with. And these things are the reason that I feel so safe traveling by myself. And when this happened, it just set off a flurry of fear that I really needed to deal with. And so what I really want to talk about now is the fact that when you're having this experience, I think it's so important to separate the facts from this flurry of fear. Let's just call it a flurry of fear. The facts were, I locked my keys in the car. The facts were, the customer service person that was helping me didn't know, I don't know how that's possible, that you can't lock these new super keys in the car, that there's a button. And if she would have said to me, just look for the button, I would have had a lot less of this experience. The other part of the story is I wasn't alone, I was safe, and it was broad daylight. For me to go into this frenzy from little things is really a lesson for me in the experience and processing things. When I was processing all this yesterday as I was going through this experience, I could remember this very negatively. Or I can look at this experience and say, wow, look at what I learned from this experience, look at all these fearful thoughts that were triggered, and I need to address these fearful thoughts and not let them color the whole experience. I was safe, and I'm fine. And the good news is that my head stopped throbbing, the ice really worked, and the rest of the day was amazing. But those subtle, subconscious triggers, I don't know what else to call them, set off a flurry of fears. And I think during that time, it's important to control your reactions. I did not control my reactions. I really apologize to this car person because I was a crazy person. I went crazy that she wasn't just going to help me, that she went through this whole rigmarole and we were on hold so long, and then finally, to me, this solution wasn't a good solution. Today, I have to forgive myself for the way I reacted. I'm sorry to that person. I realize now that this experience really triggered a lot of things, and I think that the learning experience, which is the most important thing, is self-acceptance. I was triggered. Forgiveness. I'm sorry that I reacted that way. And most of all, to realize that when I'm in a situation like this, what are those little subconscious triggers? I know as a hypnotist how powerful the subconscious mind is. I always say that the subconscious mind is powerful. Your imagination is powerful. When that's going on, I think you need to separate the story from the facts so that you stay in the experience more than let your storytelling mind build this out of control. That's my coffee time for today. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a really great day. Bye.